Hey friends, welcome back to the Quiz Pal. Test your knowledge with 50 challenging questions covering the landscapes and pivotal moments in U.S. history. Do you think you can answer them all? Let's find out. Which state is known as the land of 10,000 lakes? Wisconsin, Minnesota, or Michigan? Minnesota. Who was the 16th President of the United States? Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, or Ulysses S. Grant? Abraham Lincoln. What is the capital of New York State? Buffalo, New York City, or Albany? Albany. In which year did the United States declare independence? 1775, 1776, or 1781? 4th of July, 1776. Which state has the longest coastline in the U.S.? California, Alaska, or Florida? Alaska. Who was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence? Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, or Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson. What is the largest U.S. state by area? Texas, Alaska, or California? Alaska. What is the capital of Texas? Dallas, Houston, or Austin? Austin. Which war was fought between the North and South regions of the U.S.? War of 1812, American Civil War, or Spanish-American War? American Civil War. Who was the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States? Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, or John Jay? Alexander Hamilton. What is the longest river in the United States? Mississippi River, Missouri River, or Ohio River? Missouri River. Who was the U.S. President during the Louisiana Purchase? James Madison, John Adams, or Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson. Which state was the last to join the Union? Alaska, Hawaii, or Arizona? Hawaii. Which city is known as the Gateway to the West? Denver, Kansas City, or St. Louis? St. Louis. What was the first capital of the United States? Washington, D.C., New York City, or Philadelphia? New York City. Which U.S. state is home to the Grand Canyon? Arizona, Nevada, or Utah? Arizona. Who was president during the American Revolution? George Washington, John Adams, or there was no U.S. president during the Revolution? George Washington. Which state is the only one to have a one-house legislature? Nebraska, Vermont, or New Hampshire? Nebraska. What was the first U.S. state to ratify the Constitution? Massachusetts, Virginia, or Delaware? Delaware. Which U.S. president authorized the use of the atomic bomb during World War II? Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, or Dwight D. Eisenhower? Harry S. Truman. Where was the first permanent English settlement in America? Jamestown, Plymouth, or Roanoke? Jamestown. Which state is known as the Sunshine State? California, Arizona, or Florida? Florida. Who was the only U.S. president to serve more than 2 terms? Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, or Woodrow Wilson? Franklin D. Roosevelt. What is the smallest U.S. state by area? Connecticut, Delaware, or Rhode Island? Rhode Island. Which U.S. city is home to the Liberty Bell? Boston, Philadelphia, or Washington, D.C.? Philadelphia. Who was the first American woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean? Amelia Earhart, Harriet Quimby, or Bessie Coleman? Amelia Earhart. Which U.S. state has the most national parks? Utah, California, or Alaska? California. Who wrote the national anthem of the United States? Francis Scott Key, Betsy Ross, or George Washington? Francis Scott Key. What year did the U.S. purchase Alaska from Russia? 1867, 1848, or 1898? (1867). What is the capital of California? Los Angeles, Sacramento, or San Francisco? Sacramento. Who was the U.S. president during the Watergate scandal? Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, or Jimmy Carter? Richard Nixon. Which state is known as the Bluegrass State? Tennessee, Kentucky, or North Carolina? Kentucky. What was the first U.S. state to legalize same-sex marriage? California, New York, or Massachusetts? Massachusetts. Who was the commander of the Continental Army during the American Revolution? George Washington, Benedict Arnold, or Nathanael Greene? George Washington. Which city was the site of the first shots of the American Civil War? Antietam, Gettysburg, or Fort Sumter? Fort Sumter. Which U.S. state has the nickname the Last Frontier? Oregon, Montana, or Alaska? Alaska. What is the largest lake in the United States? Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, or Lake Erie? Lake Superior. Who was the first U.S. president to be impeached? Andrew Johnson, Richard Nixon, or Bill Clinton? Andrew Johnson. Which U.S. state is known for producing the most apples? New York, Oregon, or Washington? Washington. Which U.S. city is known as the Windy City? Boston, Detroit, or Chicago? Chicago. Which U.S. state was formerly an independent republic? California, Texas, or Hawaii? Texas. What year did women gain the right to vote in the U.S.? 1915, 1920, or 1925? 1920. Which president was in office during the Cuban Missile Crisis? Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, or Lyndon B. Johnson? John F. Kennedy. What is the highest point in the contiguous United States? Mount Whitney, Mount Elbert, or Mount Rainier? Mount Whitney. Which U.S. state is known as the Beaver State? Washington, Oregon, or Idaho? Oregon. Which city is home to the busiest airport in the United States? New York City, Chicago, or Atlanta? Atlanta. Which U.S. state was the first to secede from the Union before the Civil War? South Carolina, Virginia, or Georgia? South Carolina. What is the southernmost point in the continental U.S.? Corpus Christi, Miami, or Key West? Key West. Which U.S. state is known as the Show Me State? Arkansas, Missouri, or Mississippi? Missouri. Which U.S. city hosted the first modern Olympics held in the United States? St. Louis, Los Angeles, or Atlanta? St. Louis. How did you do? Comment your scores down below. Remember to like and subscribe. See you in the next quiz.